Hello, I'm Professor Dave Beer. I'm in the Department of Sociology at the University of York. This is a short video about our postgraduate programmes in the department. But I wanted to start by talking to you about some of the major challenges that we face today and to think about what those are and to think about how we're responding to those challenges in the department and through the postgraduate programmes that you might be interested in studying with us. Now, those major challenges take all sorts of forms, but there are a few things that we think are at the forefront of the developments that we want to tackle and that we want to help you as students to gain a greater understanding of. First, there are developments around social media and new types of media platforms in particular. And we want to try to understand how people connect through social media, how information and disinformation flows through social media, how people divide themselves from one another in these social media platforms. So there are questions there about how social media shape our everyday understanding, shape the way we connect with other people. But then at the same time, you've got questions around the use of data. So how data are extracted from these platforms and then are used to judge us or to value us or to decide our worth. These sorts of things indicating how we're treated by these companies. So there's the use of social media data across different types of organisations. And it also then filters through into everyday lives in the way that we're targeted with content. And that use of data really shapes our everyday experiences and shapes the media content that we encounter, the people we connect with, the networks we're part of, and so on. So we think there's a real set of challenges there around getting to grips with social media on different fronts. Alongside that, you've got questions around culture and cultural change, particularly global cultural change, and the internetwork of different cultures around the world and how we can get to grips with that. So you've got a set of questions here around the transformations in culture, the meanings that we get from culture, how we understand the world through culture, how we connect into the world through culture. These are all important questions. So trying to understand this relationship between culture, society and global transformation is really important, particularly as we encounter and try to understand how the globe is connected and how globalisation continues to unfold in different ways. That's the second set of challenges, I suppose. The third set of challenges we've identified are to do with crime, new types of criminality and the impact that they have upon people. So what is it like to be a victim of crime, but also how can the criminal justice system respond to new types of crime or developments in crime, changes in crime? But also, how do we understand how a changing world leads to and feeds into changing types of crime, changing experiences of crime, but also a changing fear of crime? So there's some big questions there about crime and criminality that feed off of the social transformations that we're seeing, particularly in the places in which we live and in our everyday encounters, but also online and the way that crime and criminality moves on into online spaces as well in a network society. So that's the third set of challenges. I think the fourth set of challenges really are, how do we get to grips with a changing social world more broadly? So what are the techniques, the approaches that we can use to try to understand it? How can we find means by which we can see beyond the surface, to see the underlying patterns, the longer term transformations, the way people's lives are shaped by the broader social circumstance in which they live has long been the challenge for the social sciences, and we're trying to tackle those directly. So there's some of the challenges that we think that we face today, and our postgraduate programmes are designed to tackle those big challenges head on. So we've got programmes on social media and management, social media and interactive technologies, social media and social research, a suite of social media programmes engaged on those different scales and different fronts with questions around developments in social media. Alongside that, we've got master's programme in culture, society and globalisation that's tackling those questions around how we understand culture and cultural change. And we also participate in delivering the social research master's programme, which helps people to develop an understanding, a detailed understanding of the types of methods and techniques that can be used for understanding a changing social world. So you can see those programmes are designed to tackle some of the big issues that we face today. That's what they're for, and that's the challenge really for social sciences, try to get to grips with a changing social world. Now, because these programmes do that, you'll be leaving with some really relevant knowledge, a really detailed understanding of the world that you're a part of, and of a world that the organisations, institutions you might work for and be part of in the future, how they're shaped by the broader social circumstances that impact upon them and shape the way they're run. So you'd be leaving with really relevant, detailed knowledge, not just of how the world is now, but with concepts, theories, ideas and techniques that will allow you to understand the world in the future. And as it changes and develops, that knowledge will stay relevant because those skills and ideas are transferable. They can be used to understand the changing social world and to help you to understand your part in it. So what we'd like to do is invite you to be part of our community that we have here, a community of researchers. You'd be taught by people who are actively researching around these big major challenges and then developing cutting edge research and working with you to guide you through that cutting edge research in these different fields. You'd be working closely with those experts as part of a community of students and academics working together to try to get to grips with that. So we invite you to be part of that community, to tackle these major challenges, to develop your knowledge, and for you to become experts in the areas that you want to develop. And we'll work with you to understand the cutting edge research, to ask questions for yourself of that research, to apply the research we present to you to the world that is around you, so that you can come to grips and understand that changing world that you're a part of.